Welcome back to Kiesel News, everybody. To start today off, we have a statement from The Boys showrunner that they'd be willing to do something in the Star Wars universe, and I think that this actually has immense potential. Now, obviously, The Boys would have to be finished first and whatnot, and let's be real, we don't need more Star Wars projects slammed onto the already full slate right now. But I would definitely love to see him do a project, especially if he can make a superhero project that differentiates from the norm so much with The Boys. I think he could do the same for Star Wars. Have it set in the Star Wars universe, but have it cover an entirely different genre, or an entirely different set of characters, and I think we have something really special on our hands. It'd also be a chance to get Anthony Starr in Star Wars. Get it? Anthony Starr? Ha 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 ha, so funny. Next up, we have news that apparently there's a really good chance that another Dungeons & Dragons movie gets made, but Chris Pine's quote doesn't give me much hope. He says, if they can figure out a financial way to make it work, they'll do it. Yeah, no shit. But that doesn't imply that they will make it work. Like, he doesn't sound very confident. He's just like, yeah, I guess if we have the money, then we'll make it. And, like, how is that a really good chance, bro? This is how you hype up a movie here, like what Ralph Ineson is doing. He's just like, guys, a Fantastic Four script, it's cool as fuck. But as for him saying that he doesn't know the whole lore of Marvel, I could see some people getting concerned about this, saying, oh, he's not good enough to play Galactus then. But I guarantee you, 99% of the actors who are in Marvel movies do not know anything about the Marvel comics. I guarantee you Robert Downey Jr. didn't know a whole lot about Iron Man, and look at how beloved he is now. Same with Chris Evans as Captain America. So, you know what? He's probably ahead of the game with getting his son to teach him all their lore. Now, I recently talked about the Kite Man series coming from DC. Something that now makes me even more excited for it is that Lance Reddick is going to be in it, and it'll be his final role. I guess that means there was no secret John Wick project in the works with him then. That's unfortunate, but anyways, as for this show, it says that he'll be voicing Lex Luthor. Now, that's very interesting, as Lex Luthor is primarily a Batman villain, is he not? I'm not huge on DC, so I don't know for sure, but from what I know, he's a Batman villain. So is Batman going to be in this? If so, that's actually concerning, as he's definitely going to overshadow Kite Man. Like, everyone will just watch the show for the cameos. What is this, Star Wars? I also hope that people don't get mad about Lex Luthor being played by a black actor, as from what I've seen of him, he's been white in most of his interpretations. So hopefully the anti-woke crowd doesn't get too angry. Although I wouldn't put it past them to try and disrespect a dead person. Next up, we have a behind-the-scenes look at the scrapped guilt and suspicion emotions from Inside Out 2. Now, obviously there's not much to say here. I just thought this was kind of funny. One, guilt kind of reminds me of Grimace, and I appreciate how he's holding a bag on the back, as people who are experiencing guilt feel like they're experiencing heavy weights and baggage, right? So I think that's a clever design choice. However, though, is suspicion an emotion? It's more like a feeling that you have. It's like blue balls. You don't consider blue balls an emotion, but it's something that you feel all throughout yourself. Same with post-nut clarity. Another short little tidbit. We got our first look at the Rick and Morty anime. It is fully indeed a Japanese dub. And it's funny because they could have used this to get around recasting Justin Roiland if they really wanted to. They could have just said, you know what, we're canceling Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty, the anime, is now the official show. But they thankfully didn't do that. I say thankfully because this show certainly has a set plot in mind, as opposed to Rick and Morty, which is more episodic. So this allows it to take a more serialized approach. I'm sure there'll still be more standalone elements to each episode, but serialization is nice too. It's similar to what I like about fellow animated sitcom South Park, with its special movies that they've been doing, such as the Panderverse or the COVID one, where it allows you to tell a longer form, more serious story with the same characters. Next up, the former PlayStation boss says that we need to remove the console wars and focus on putting everything on one console. Now, I obviously agree with getting rid of the console wars per se, so that we don't have to listen to everyone bitch all the time about, oh yeah, Xbox is better, oh yeah, Nintendo's better, oh yeah, PlayStation's better. But you can't get rid of certain consoles. It would completely destroy the need for innovation at all. And it would also harm indies even more. To start with the innovation point, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious that you need competition so that you're not forced to sit on your laurels all day and just do nothing. If there was only one console, there'd be no one to push whoever was in charge of it to do better. So they would just put out shit product after shit product after shit product, and that would cause everyone to get mad, and someone else would end up creating a new console filled with games people actually wanted to play, and the cycle would just restart again. It shows that you need multiple consoles. As for how it could harm indies, if there's one console that's putting out all the big AAA games, that also means there's only one console for all of the indie devs to put their games on, aside from Steam, obviously, but Steam is kind of its own thing. So that would increase the competition between indie games and make it harder for you to stand out. The only way I could see indie games benefiting is if all of the AAA games being on one console makes them all repetitive, and then people go to indies for the unique experiences, so everything kind of equalizes out as people are going to be buying indies more. but all in all, I think this would be a bad idea. Next up, I have a quick synopsis for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I'll be talking more about in my Nintendo Direct video, which is coming along nicely, but it's over 20 minutes, so it's taking quite a bit of time to edit. But the synopsis is that we will go all around the Kingdom of Hyrule, helping people that are affected by strange rifts and getting sucked into them. Now, it doesn't sound like the most revolutionary plot ever, but in comparison to just, oh my god, Ganon's back yet again, whoa, I'll take it. Of course, Ganon could be the one pulling people into these rifts, but with Zelda being the protagonist, maybe they're actually going to try and introduce a new antagonist. I know everybody loves Ganon, but I always think new is great, so long as you don't disrespect the old while doing so. So, I'm all down for a potential new villain or a new plot of some kind. Now, rapidly switching gears from Zelda, we have the fact that Donald Trump is planning to build an Iron Dome over the U.S. if he gets reelected. Now, I'm not in the U.S., so I'm not aligned with any political party there. I'm not telling you whether to vote for Trump or Biden, but I do want to give my thoughts on this, and I think all in all, it's a good idea. At least in concept, as we're not taking into account all the money that would probably be spent on it, and I don't think the U.S. is in a well enough financial situation to allow building this, but like I said, in concept, it's a good idea. If only for the fact that it'll stop people from saying that World War III is going to happen on Twitter every 3 weeks, it seems. Every 3 weeks, it seems like someone attacks somebody, and everyone begins to panic and say, oh my god, we're all going to die, World War III is coming, just because of some missiles. Which, fair enough. But if we have an Iron Dome, then we can successfully block the missiles and end all this useless panic. There's your daily political opinion from someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Just doing my job here on Kiesel News. Now we'll end off with one major story and a few minor ones, as we're getting kind of close to the usual runtime for Kiesel News, despite me speeding up my voice. That's right, guys, if you can't tell, I'm sped the fuck up right now, so I don't know how people in the comments still think I speak too slow. But anyways, Orson Krennic is going to be coming back in Andor Season 2, guys. If you thought Andor couldn't get more peak, well, you're wrong. Seriously, this is really exciting. Orson Krennic is probably one of the best villains to come out of the Disney era. I'd go as far as to say the best. I mean, I would give that to Moff Gideon, until Season 3, which kind of fucked him around. But as long as Krennic remains good in Andor Season 2, he'll have a perfect track record. He was perfect in Rogue One, served his role absolutely brilliantly. And that goes for the whole cast, honestly. I mean, people always said that the issue with Rogue One was that its cast wasn't interesting. But honestly, the entire cast was more interesting than any of the sequel trilogy characters, even though they weren't the main focal point. With Krennic returning and K2SO returning, it does make me wonder what other Rogue One characters we may see. I hope we see Chirrut and Baze, especially, as they were some of my favorite characters in the movie, especially Chirrut, and I want to see him fleshed out more. Boggy doesn't really need to be there. I don't think you can really flesh out his character anymore, and Jyn had Rogue One to herself, so I think just having her in a cameo in the end, maybe, would be all that you would need. But yeah, very excited to see Orson Krennic return. And I guess Ben Mendelsohn, who I didn't know played him. How did I not know this? I always thought that he was a great actor, especially as Talos in Captain Marvel and Endgame. Not so much Secret Invasion, as Secret Invasion was kind of tampered overall, but it's not like he was at fault for that. Now for our two minor stories. First, you're telling me that there was a canceled 23 Jump Street? Are you fucking for real? Dude, they would be so brain dead not to release it or work on it now. That's all that people are doing now anyways, the sequels, so why not capitalize on this one? You would get me in the theater and you wouldn't have before, just because of the whole drama with Kanye. Now, if you got Kanye as a cameo, then you'd really be setting yourself up for a more billion-dollar box office success. It's clearly not the best script you've ever read, Channing, as any one with Kanye added would be infinitely better. Lastly, Call of Duty is adding an 8-bit mode to Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. See, guys? Call of Duty isn't just the same game every time. They do really unique shit like this. Seriously, who in the development room was cooking when they came up with this idea? Now this gives them no excuse to not add skins of 2D characters into the game. I better see a fucking Toon Link skin in Call of Duty, or a Mario 8-bit skin in Call of Duty. Can you imagine that? Or fucking Pac-Man. Yeah, let's go. That's the character we need.